Okay, audio is now unmuted.
Waiting for the stream to catch up. Okay. Good evening, everyone. We've got everyone's microphone working, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Welcome, everyone, to the Anime Twin Cities annual meeting. Just a note about why there is no attendance link on this meeting. Per the bylaws, the attendance period is between the annual meetings, so the annual meeting itself is not tracked for attendance. We do have live chat enabled for this meeting, but we do have a less restrictive flow mode than we did on the last one. I will not be reviewing the chat until we get to the end of our meeting tonight for the questions portion of our agenda. So feel free to put your questions in the chat as they come up, and we will answer any pertinent questions at the end of the meeting. Now I would like to go ahead and welcome Brian, who will be presenting the results of the investigation.
Actually, real quick, if I could, before things, I want to call a point of order real quick. I have a couple things that I want to discuss before we start things.
Okay.
So, specifically, before we get into the stuff on the agenda, I have 2 to 3 points of order I just want to discuss real quick. Basically, the first point of order being that a lot of the members of the public are saying that there were concerns with the voting members not being properly provided notice of the annual meeting or being given the right to vote. They're also, and I have a list here. So membership lists with voting rights were requested by multiple ATC members ahead of the election, but were not given the legally required information to allow members with voting rights to identify the other members with the voting rights required by law. Per the state law, the list of voting members must include full legal names and the addresses to allow members with voting rights to communicate regarding the election. It is any member's right to be able to request that full list of members with voting rights.
Okay. Our bylaws state that we need to provide a list, but it doesn't have all of those extra pieces of information on it. So we provided the list with the information that
All right, that is fine.
Necessary.
Just letting it be known that I object to that because Minnesota state law also should supersede that. ATC electoral policy requires that members up for election participate in a Q&A session with the membership, and multiple members have reported to me through, I've both seen it in the public-facing Discord, or I'm sorry, the staff-facing Discord, and both emails coming in to the ATC board, that there were more questions on that list that had not been asked. And I just wanted to call that to a point of order as well, that not all of the public was able to communicate and get their questions answered.
Yep, due to the number of candidates that we had, we limited the amount of time we allotted for public questions. In addition, there were many questions that were not pertinent to the elections that were not asked.
Mm-hmm. All right. The next point that I have is that concerns have been expressed that the board has instituted unequal treatment concerning calculating membership with the voting rights, allowing one or more members to count Anime Detour branch meetings for attendance but not others, all without ATC having a clear policy outlining whose responsibility it is to actually provide the secretary ATC branch meeting attendance, or how.
The bylaws state that the Anime Detour planning meetings attendance should be sent within 1 week of the meeting happening. Unfortunately, that did not happen this year. Basically, we did the best that we could to get as much attendance as possible. We listened to all of the board meetings and went through the chat to verify as many people's attendance as possible for the board meetings as well as the Anime Detour planning meetings.
All right. So proper meeting notice is not an issue that can be waived. So I believe that this meeting should properly be postponed in order to provide proper notice given to the members with voting rights, and so that all of the question and answers that were submitted could be identified and answered.
This meeting, the annual meeting, has been on the calendar for over a month, which is the proper amount of notice.
That is fine. I got just one more. It's another point of order. Per ATC electoral policy, members not in good standing are ineligible to be elected, and I would like the board to review the eligibility of all candidates prior to announcing the results, as I believe that one or more candidates are ineligible to be elected.
Okay, that's definitely something that we can look into between now and 8 p.m. tomorrow when the results are announced.
Sure, not a problem. I just want to make sure that's going on the record for the integrity of said election, because it is something that's been under such scrutiny. If you aren't going to review my points of order in this meeting, I'm just making a formal objection to this procedure and the meeting being conducted improperly. Therefore, I have to object to the rest of the procedure. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, with that, we will go ahead and go back to the agenda as posted. And now it is time for Brian's turn.
Thank you. Members of the board, I'm Brian Gravely. I'm an attorney at Halverson Legal. I have for approximately 45 days conducted an investigation at your direction. Following the 2024 Anime Detour Convention, the board received complaints regarding Mr. Troy McDonald. The board decided to solicit feedback from those who worked with Mr. McDonald. Information regarding the complaints and who filed the complaints were shared with Mr. McDonald. At the next board meeting, Mr. McDonald posted information about the complaints and who made them in the chat. The board then received more complaints and was able to verify that Mr. McDonald had disclosed the information publicly. The board then suspended Mr. McDonald and requested that I conduct an investigation into the allegations made. An email was set up for me to receive direct communication from individuals. I was given access to all previous complaints filed with the board. During the past 45 days, numerous individuals have emailed me or called to discuss allegations and complaints against Mr. McDonald. The nature of these allegations are serious. They involve workplace harassment, hostile work environment, employment retaliation, and misuse of corporate funds and assets. We brought in a former St. Paul police officer to assist in interviews and to help with the investigation. About a month ago, this investigator spoke with Mr. McDonald. The investigator read off approximately 25 different questions that he wanted to ask Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald responded that he would not cooperate and refused to answer any questions. As we prepared to complete our investigation prior to the May 14th board meeting, my investigator and I were contacted by an attorney who indicated he now represented Mr. McDonald. He wanted my investigator to interview Mr. McDonald as soon as possible. My investigator did, in fact, interview Mr. McDonald on Monday, May 13th and Tuesday, May 14th for hours. Due to the length and timing of these interviews, we could not present a report at the board meeting on the night of May 14th. Now all interviews have concluded. Members of the board, I have completed my investigation. It is my finding that Mr. McDonald has, on 4 different counts, failed in his responsibilities to the corporation and to this board. First, Mr. McDonald, as an executive officer, like all executive officers of this corporation, serve at the pleasure of the board. Minnesota law and this corporation's bylaws make it clear an executive officer can be removed with or without cause by the board. During his most recent interview with my investigator, Mr. McDonald gave an answer I refused to answer on questions related to hostile work environment, workplace harassment, and employment retaliation. As an executive officer, Mr. McDonald was required to participate and fully cooperate. He did not do so. Count two are allegations made regarding workplace harassment, hostile work environment, and retaliation. My investigator and I found that the allegations made to be credible and that there were many victims of McDonald's actions. Furthermore, as of last week, I was still receiving complaints regarding recent actions of Mr. McDonald. As such, I would indicate that this behavior is not in the past, but is ongoing. Count 3 is based on an admission made by Mr. McDonald during his interviews. Mr. McDonald indicated he was a fiduciary or in control of corporate resources of value, like spaces and contracts. Mr. McDonald indicated to my investigator he did not document his usage of these financial resources. The board must demand of its executives that they handle financial resources, that they document all their decisions in their decision making. The last count, members of the board, is that by his own admission, there were conflicts related to his control of financial assets at the convention. But Mr. McDonald admitted he never, during or after the conflicts, notified those above him, the board, of disputes that occurred with corporate financial resources. In our investigation, it appears that there were credible allegations that some individuals were intentionally financially harmed by Mr. McDonald during the convention period. Members of the board, I submit these findings of my investigation to you. Madam President, I ask to take your leave and log off to allow the board to now resume its regular business.
Thank you for presenting your results, Brian. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, based off of these findings, I will go ahead and move for a vote of no confidence in Coordinator Troy McDonald. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All opposed? Okay. So that is 5 in favor and 1 against. And then in light of the no confidence vote, I vote to remove Troy McDonald from his coordinator position. Can I get a second?
I'll second again.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. That is 5 in favor and 1 against, meeting the 2/3 that we need in order to proceed with the removal of a member. Additionally, I move for a vote to ban Troy McDonald from all ATC events for an indefinite period with a minimum of 1 year. Can I get a second?
I'll second again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's 5 in favor and all opposed? 1. Okay. Now that we have wrapped up the investigation concerning Troy McDonald with Mr. Gravely's report and issued our resolution, I'd like to circle back to the investigation concerning Kristen Loth. For clarification, the board sent an email to her directly outlining what she was under investigation for at the time. Since both investigations are now resolved and to provide transparency for the membership, Ms. Loth was under investigation for sharing confidential information with unauthorized individuals. This information was privy to her since she is a member of the board, and while investigating Mr. McDonald, we received confirmation of this information being provided to other individuals who should not have had access to it. As many of you have been aware, there is a significant conflict between the board and the current executive team. The executive team currently includes Brittany Hecker, Kristen Loth, and Morgan Niemeyer. They have overstepped their authority, contributing to the discord affecting our community. I move for a vote of no confidence in the current executive team. Can I get a second?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? One. Okay. That is, I believe
am
it was.
abstaining. I would like to point out that it is a major conflict of interest for Kristen to be participating in that vote at all, as she is a member of the executive team.
Okay. So that is 4 in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 abstaining. And then based on the no confidence vote, I vote to remove the executive team from their positions and demote them to general staff. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And all opposed? And so are you abstaining this one, Kristen? Okay. So that is 4 in favor, 1 opposed, or sorry, 2 abstaining. In the interim, Anime Detour department heads can report directly to the board of directors until a new coordinator is appointed. Next, I would like to address the staffing bans put forth by the prior executive team. The people affected by these bans are Hope K, Chelsea L, Bruce L, Botura V, Samantha C, Andrew J, Nick S, Drina M, Mike A, and Taylor H. These bans were imposed without consulting the board and without providing significant justification. The infected individuals have shared the reasons given for the bans, which the board finds inadequate. The timing of the majority of these bans right before elections is highly suspicious. Therefore, we are rescinding these bans. Anyone else who may have been banned by this executive team who would like their ban reviewed, please reach out to the board with the information provided to you with the reasoning of the ban. Additionally, our social media coordinator has worked to undermine the board of directors. I move for a vote of no confidence in coordinator Brittany Hecker. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it looks like we have 5 in favor and 1 abstaining. Okay, so then the next item on the agenda is the announcement of the election voting. That will begin at 8 p.m. this evening. You will receive an email if you have received voting rights this cycle. The results will be available after 8 p.m. tomorrow and will be emailed out. Please feel free to review the candidate Q&As posted on our YouTube page, and good luck to all of the candidates. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull up the YouTube stream so I can go through the questions that have come up in there. Let's see. Let's switch it over to live chat and scroll up to the top. Oh, okay. The earliest thing that I can see is 6:37. It's cut off before that. Let's see.
So far, there has been no questions of note that I see from anything on the chat side that I've been reviewing.
Okay. Going through it. There's lots of arguing. I guess one thing I can address in here, we haven't removed the executive team from staff. We have just demoted them so that they are no longer the executive team, but they are still staff. And let's see. Okay, so I have gotten caught up and I didn't see any questions that I could answer that are relevant to the situation today. We want to give them a couple more minutes. I guess one thing I would like to say is we will go ahead and work on getting the open coordinator position posted out, hopefully within the next week. I'm sure we all would love to get back to planning for the convention. I have never heard anything about Detour funds going to Nebrascon or Convergence. Don't know why that would be a thing. But if anyone has actual information that they feel they need to share about it, they are welcome to email the board so we can investigate it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and motion to end the meeting for the night.
I'll second.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Like I said, we will post the election results tomorrow, and have a
Christina,
great night.
you want to vote to end the meeting?
Oh, do we need to vote to end the meeting? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.